Okay, so moving on from politics, like I said, we are going to be talking about reality TV and just being on TV in general. And we actually both were approached or we were messaged by somebody that works for Lifetime, which I'm sure most of you know what Lifetime is. It's kind of a cringy channel with like
Uh,
weird movies on it.
oh my God. Yeah. It was
Um,
such a fucking weird experience in general.
Yeah. Yeah, so we basically both got an email from the same person and they pitched this idea of a show. I don't remember much. All I can remember is that it was about like secrets and something I'm assuming they wanted us to obviously use our trans identity as like the big storyline for us being on the show. But basically it was about like secrets and having to tell people a secret, like your deepest darkest secret, and then like filming their response or something like that. Was that the gist that you got from it?
Yeah. So essentially, it was like their whole thing was that, like, all right, we have this reality TV show where people come out and tell everyone their deepest, darkest secret. And it was like they reached out to us because we were trans. And I guess in their eyes, being trans is like this deep, dark secret, even though we were both publicly out on YouTube. But we didn't know they reached out to either of us until like months later. We just like talked about it, and you were like, "Oh my God, like I like talked with her too, the casting agent person." But yeah, that experience was really weird because they essentially reached out asking us if we wanted to be on this reality TV show or whatever. And so I responded and I was like, yeah, like I'm interested. Like, I think that could be cool just because I really wanted like an opportunity. And I think when you're like an influencer, like on YouTube, like you're looking kind of like for your next thing, especially us who are pretty small. I think it was definitely like an exciting thing to hear. Like, oh my God, like Lifetime, like this like network is like reaching out to me. And so like I like entertained it. And I know that you did too, right?
I did. And I actually like vividly remember being on the phone call with the person. I was going to Lowe's. I think I was like making duplicates of my house keys. And she called me and I was like, okay, I guess I should answer now. And I was in the parking lot and she was basically just like talking. First, she started off talking about like how brave I was and like how I've gone through so much and that
Oh
she
my
she
God.
knew she's known trans people in the past and like she just really has a strong love for the trans community. So I was like, okay, that's great. And she basically like started to talk about the premise of the show. And she started to ask me questions. She was like, okay, so clearly, you've already transitioned or you're pretty well into your transition. Is there anybody else in your family or in your circle that doesn't know? And I was like, no, I mean, pretty much everybody knows. I'm very public about it. I have a YouTube channel and everything. And she was like, oh, do you have a boyfriend? And I was like, yes, I do have a boyfriend. And then she was like, does your boyfriend's family know that you're trans? And I was like,
Wow.
"Yes, they know." And she was like, "What about a grandma or grandpa on his side that might be a little conservative and might not agree with you being trans?" And I was like, I don't know. We haven't really talked about that." And I just kind of got the gist that she didn't want or she was trying to like figure out a storyline for me because I'm very open about my transition. And I feel like she was looking for somebody that was still kind of in the closet and had to have those difficult conversations with like a parent or a loved one or somebody else and come out to them as trans. And since I didn't have any of that, she was kind of trying to push the narrative that I was going to use like Russell's grandma or grandpa or somebody in his family in order to tell them that I'm trans to like be a shock value for the show or something. So after that, I just like got a weird vibe and I stopped responding to her. I don't know if she wanted to take me farther into the process, but I just stopped responding to her emails and her calls because I was like, that's weird. I don't want to do that.
She was spamming it, wasn't she?
Yeah. I was like, girl, I don't
Yeah.
want to do this anymore.
Fucking when these like cis white women, like you can tell she was seeing us as a commodity. We were like a paycheck for her.
Yeah.
Like she was like, we need to cast this person. I'm assuming she got specific roles to like cast a trans person. And so she was trying so hard to like get us in, try and like create a story for us. Because she called me and did the same thing. And she was like, is there like any like secret or whatever? And I was just trying to think of stuff to like please her. And I was like, I mean, maybe like, I mean, I'm thinking of getting surgery. Maybe like that's something. And she was like, yes. And then she was like, let's get on a Skype call. And then, and then so like me like being like anxious and feeling weird about it, I feel like I wasn't secure enough in my identity to like really acknowledge that this was like off-putting. I kind of was like feeling a little weird by it. I was like, this woman like really using me. But I mean, like I just kind of like went along with it because I was like, really like maybe this is my break, even though that's like a stupid thing. But I got on this Skype call with her, and oh my god, she was like asking me questions. And so the whole premise was she's recording me on the Skype call and she's asking me questions, and then I have to restate the questions in like an answer. So like truly like it was like fucking
I
I
love
felt like I was writing
elementary
an
school.
essay. Right.
I
So I
IQIA? That's what you had to do.
exactly. No, like genuinely. So she was like asking me like, "Oh, like say your like what's your name and like who are you?" And I had to go like, "My name is Olivia and I'm trans," or whatever I did. And then she was like asking me like, "What's your secret?" or whatever. And then I have to be like, "My secret that I have." And then so it was like really weird, and she was like very pushy, and she was very. It really seemed like she was on crack, like genuinely like she was a fucking crackhead or something, because like
She gave me
the
that
way
vibe
that
too, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, the way that she was like go go go, like trying to be really nice but like super like fucking problematic. Like it was super like weird, because I remember her specifically being like she was feeding me lines to say to the camera, and we were talking about like my transition and stuff, and she was like, say you're getting surgery to become like a woman. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
wait, what?
god.
And she was like to become a full woman. And I was like, that's not like and then I was like, I'm really uncomfortable with that, because that doesn't define someone as being trans. I don't feel comfortable saying that. She was like, no, no, like I agree, but like, these producers, like these people, they don't know any better. Just go along with it. And I
Oh,
was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I did it because I just want to get off the call. And then I was like, I'm never talking to this bitch again. Like, I'm never gonna talk with her again. Like, are you kidding me? So then like she spammed me, and I like never answered. I blocked her because she kept saying like hello, hello. We're gonna send it, like, and like all this like stuff. And I was like, I just like was like, please leave me alone. I'm not comfortable. I don't want to do this. And then she kept spamming me, but then I ended up blocking her, which I just think is funny that like I wonder if it ever aired. I don't think it ever did, that
I don't
show.
think so. I haven't seen anything about it.
But like, yeah, that was like our experience with that, and I just think it's fucking wild.
Plus, like, if you know Lifetime, like I said, it kinda caters to, like, a more how do you say, like, older audience. There are a lot of, like,
Yeah,
grandmas that are like, "Oh my god, my new Lifetime movies are out." So I feel like she wanted or I feel like they wanted, like, a trans person because on Lifetime, that would be, like, super shocking, and then they would be, shocked that there's a trans woman on the screen and, we're talking about surgeries or coming out or transitioning or something like that. And that's the kind of representation that I don't like because I feel like both of us could sense that it was very apparent that it was kind of like a fetishization or like they were commodifying us for being trans and that the only reason that they wanted to hear about our so-called secrets is because it was apparently shocking or supposed to be shocking to their audience and I guess was supposed to be good TV, which I guess is like the purpose of all TV. But like when you're trying to use a trans person solely for that reason, it's just not something I personally would want to be a part of.
yeah, there's something inherently wrong when you're seeing a trans person, and you're thinking that we're this secret, that we're this thing that we should like that no one should know about. We're this like creature that like is completely hidden from the world and lies to everyone. We're deceptive. And I think it
Right.
feeds into that narrative. And like I hate it so much. I remember her specifically saying too, she was like, we're not TLC. She was like, we're not TLC. We're not none of
Oh
that
my god,
trash.
I
We're like
remember that.
Lifetime. And I was like, what? Like you're literally asking me right now while I'm sitting here to say that I'm gonna get a pussy to be a real woman, and like I'm just I don't understand. But like when it comes to like situations like that, like representation, trans representation is really, really great. But I think it's also more about like it's good to see trans people on television, but like you have to think of it as how are they represented? So a trans person being on TV isn't good enough. It's how are they being represented on that TV show? Are they making a statement about themselves? Are they showcasing that, it's great and it's beautiful to be trans? Or are they in a movie and is their transition not a main center point? Like, are they able to just exist, and not having to like be the entire narrative? Or are they existing without being a villain, which you see a lot of times, trans people in movies or television being this like bad person or this villain. So whenever you're like watching media and you see a trans person, I think it's like really important for you to stop and think like, is this trans person there because it's a paycheck for the companies, or are they there because they're truly making this like step forward in society and they're being seen as an equal to everyone else rather than like some sort of object? So, you know.
Yeah. So I think safe to say both of us are glad that we never participated in that show. One, it
Definitely
never
glad.
aired, or I have not heard anything about it. So I guess it didn't get whatever it needed to in order to move on. But yeah, it just wasn't a project that I think we needed to be a part of just because the motive of it obviously was off. So that was,
Honestly, yeah, I hope
yeah,
Karen is doing well.
whatever the fuck her name. I don't care what the fuck her name was. I hope she found what she was looking for, but it wasn't us, and we're
Right.
still thriving without her.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that was like a funny story. We were just talking one day, and I think you randomly brought up that somebody from Lifetime reached out to you, and I was like, wait, same. And then we found out that it was literally for the same thing.
Yeah, and the reason I never said anything to you, and I'm assuming the same reason, like you never said anything to me was because it was just so sketchy, and it was like maybe I shouldn't admit this that like I
Yeah.
like entertained this, but like
Yeah.
it was like really off putting.
Yeah. So that was our shared story. I know we both have either been approached or have tried to audition for like other parts in other shows.